Well, hello, and welcome to my craft table. It's Trini here. How are you all? Well, it's that time of the week again. It's Friday, so that is what's in my jolly box. Let's do a lucky dip and let's get some unfinished projects done. If you're not familiar with the series, it's a little weekly video I'm doing where I've got this box and it's got all my little unfinished projects which I've put into little packets, and I randomly pull out two and just try and challenge myself to see what I can come up with. You're very welcome to join in, and if you'd like to, you could post your makes onto the community page. I'm using the hashtag Finish It On Friday, and we can cheer each other on. Okay, so let's dive in, and let me just randomly kind of grab two. So I'll just sort of try not to kind of feel the sizes of the packets. So there we go. All right, let's see what we've got. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, so we're decorating some CD covers, and we're also going to try and come up with a way of embellishing all these little milk bottle caps that I've got that I've never really known what to do with. I think what I was thinking was to make a loop, dangle it down, and have some of them, several of them. All right, so let me have a think about how we're going to do this, and I'll be back with some supplies. All right, so this actually might be quite a quick project. So I've got these milk bottle caps that I bought a very long time ago. These are Tim Holtz ones, and I never knew what to do with them. So I believe I may have caught this idea from the Bohemian Crafter, but I haven't watched her videos for a long time, so I don't know if she still does this sort of thing, but I'm pretty sure that's where I got the idea from, and I quickly did that to remind myself that was a good way of using them. Look at something like this, for example. And so I think the idea is that you have this. So you have a little loop, and then you have the string dangling down, and then we just do, I mean, that's a Christmas one. I'll sort them out and have that like that just dangling down, and I think that looks lovely. So let's get our supplies together and let's make a few. I have no idea how I would store that without it tangling, but I need to get my template piece of paper out because we need to kind of work out sizes. Now I've got my 2-inch hole punch. I think that that would be a good size. Yes, it looks like I distressed the edge of that. I don't know if we need to do that, but we could. So I've got my 2-inch circle punch, and I've got some just plain old kitchen string. I've got my milk bottle caps, and I'm going to be using my 450 quick dry adhesive. Now I've got some scrap craft brown paper. So I think what I'll do is just punch out as many circles as I can. That wasn't a good start. Let's try that again. Okay. All right, we'll try that again. I don't know why that didn't punch. Not getting off to a good start here, but we will get there. Okay. It's quite thick, so it's not like it's paper. All right, and I'm going to need to get some more, I think. Maybe it was my technique. Let's try it again. That's better. I'm going to probably only get a few out of these. All right, let me get some more. Good way of using up my scrap craft brown paper All right, this used to be a photo album, like, you know, one of those little mini photo albums, and I kept some ephemera in it, but I retired that method. I was never going to toss it, but I decided no, that's handy to use in projects. So, oh, I wonder whether I should even keep that little thin strip of stitching, because you know I do like to do my strips. All right, so yep, we will definitely keep those. They could look good on the side of tags as well. So let me get myself organized here. Let me cut these bits of black stitching off. All right, let's go. So I think I just have to keep punching, like I squeeze a few times if it sort of jams. All right, so yeah, I think I can get 3. So that means that I can get, if I'm careful about this, I can get 3 out of each piece, and that's 3 milk cat bottles that I can get done. How are you all today? I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So it's a lovely Friday here today. Good day for finishing up some projects and getting yourself organized. What are your plans for the week? I think we're having a barbecue. Meet the stepdaughter's new boyfriend. So he's coming over for a barbecue, and we have marinated some chicken wings. Isla loves this. That's my stepdaughter. Isla loves. We do peri peri chicken wings, and I also do this Vietnamese flavored one, and she loves it. And we've got some marinated chicken skewers, so that will be good. It'll be fun, and it'll be nice to meet him. They've been going out together for a while now, so it's nice that she wanted us to meet him. I just want to get them all punched so that even if I don't finish them all, they're ready to go, and I'll keep them in the bag, and then that way I can pick them up again and quickly. Oh dear, I hope my punch isn't playing up on me. I think that's the problem. I think if I don't have paper for it to grip on, it doesn't punch. Okay, so I've got all my circles punched out. We can probably, I might even go just a little bit longer just in case. All right, so let's go with that. So let's do 3. All right. Oh, this is a different string to what I originally used. It's a bit thicker. This is just some kitchen string that I picked up just at my local shopping centre, that I've had obviously sitting in my stash for quite some time. All right, so I think the way to do this is it's going to be a lot of circles to distress the edges. So let me get that part of the job done. All right, so I think the first step is going to be that I'm going to get 3 circles, and I'm going to just put a little bit of glue. Thinking you could almost even staple them, but let's see how we go with the glue. And start off doing a little loop. I think that's going to be the tricky part. All right, maybe just do one at a time. There's probably an easier way to do this, but I can't think of it. I think it's just a case of the more you do it, I think the more you kind of get used to what you're doing. All right, so we've got 3. So this is pretty much a standard journal page. I'm going to be making 35 journals out of the file folder that I've already folded up. It was just a bunch of file folders that I had when I used to have my office many years ago, and I always kept them. And I also, you know, don't have as much storage as I used to. And yeah, so I decided to make them up into these journal covers, and this year I'm going to actually do it. So I think if we do that and just work our way down, trying to think how I would attach this to the page. It would obviously be on the edge, and I guess I need to come down like that. So I need to be thinking about having one like that, and then having the final one down here like so. So I'm just going to run my glue like that. Okay, and I don't think I'm going to really bother distressing the edges. I don't think it really matters. All right, so I'm going to get the first lot down. I think these would be awesome in a recipe book or in a like a farm themed book. I mean, I think they would be all right in any journal, to be honest. Just a little bit of fun, but I think they would especially be good in a recipe themed journal. Okay, so that's that one. So I think I'm just going to carry on and finish the rest. So all right, so that's our first lot done. Of course, you could do this with any circle. If you've got a circle punch or, you know, circle dies, you could just do anything and have them dangling down like this. It doesn't have to be milk bottle caps. All right, so they're all done. Well, I've done 3 anyway, but you know, I just want to see how they work in a journal when I make a journal. I'm sure they're going to look really good, and also how am I going to store them so that they don't tangle up. But there we have it. So I just pulled out my old recipe book that I made many years ago, and I just wanted to show you. There was actually another page. Let me have a look. Here we go. I think this is it here. I think that looks amazing. And look, you can even loop it over the bulldog clip like that and attach it like that. That would even make a really good belly band, wouldn't it? Yeah, really happy with that. Okay, so for the CD sleeve covers, I have been sort of looking around in my supplies, and I got these a while ago, a couple of years ago, from the Graphics Fairy. So they're these gorgeous owls with little mushrooms. So I thought they would be a good way to be a tag that we could slip inside. So I've been pulling some things out, and I've got this book that I picked up when I was thrifting, or op shopping as we call it in Australia, and it's The Queen's Hidden Garden, Buckingham's Palace Treasury of Wild Plants. It's an absolute treasure trove of beautiful images that we can use, but I've had a bit of a look, and there's a couple of ideas that I've got. So I've got this fern. So my thinking is that I can cut an image. I think if I kind of place it like that, it's going to kind of capture, I'll kind of figure that out, but I was thinking something along those lines like that, cut there. But then I was thinking I could cut using my circle nesting set. I could cut this one here, I think might fit, and I could cut the middle out and then back it inside, and then the outside I can use to frame, and then I can turn this into a tag and we can slip that in. Now in my journal, I think what I'll do is I'll use this as an open flip, so then I'll put something on the back here so you can have some journaling space here. So I have got 4 of these tags, so I might as well do 4. So I've pulled out 4, and it's also got mushrooms on it. So I've also got some fussy cut mushrooms. So I'm thinking we could maybe do something with that. So the first thing I need to do is actually take these book pages out. So let me get that done. I have to have a look at how this book is. I don't think it's got signature. Oh yes, it has. Okay, I think I need to carefully tear this one out. So let me do that. So that's 1. We might be able to get 2, we'll see. And we'll go with this one as well. All right, and I probably need 1 more. So at the back here, I don't think there's any coloured images. I am going to do a video on how to deconstruct a book. I do like that, but I kind of want to keep that. I know, we'll see. That could be a possibility. I just don't think I've got any more. I think they're all flowers now. Let's have a look. I think these will make beautiful covers, which is why I got it. Oh, there's some at the front here. Let's have a look. Okay, so maybe that one. Yeah, I think let's go that one. All right, so if I have to make more, I can always make more. I guess I'm going to need my cutting board, and I'm going to need pencil. So we're going to have to try and figure this out. All right, let's do this first. All right, this one I think is pretty good. I mean, we're pretty much going to be using the picture. So we probably want to go something like this. So all right, let's see if my pencil marks make any sense. So I think what we're doing is and already they don't. All right, so this one's got to come off here. Just bring our envelope back. Yeah, so it's this little mark here. All right, I've just pulled it down to, because this is all jagged, I've pulled the edge of the paper down to line up with this paper here, just to keep my angles straight. Okay, and I think we want to come here, and then we want to come across here. So and I think it's this one here. So I think we managed to get most of that in, and then we've got this left over, which I can use that in some collage. All right, so now we've got that. What's going to be interesting is trying to figure out how to cut the inside out, isn't it? And is that going to fit? No, it's not going to fit. So how do I figure this out? I guess this is going to be tricky. Because trying to get the circle out of this to match this is going to be the hard bit. All right, let me take my die off. So I'm going to have to use the scalloped one because it's the only one that really is the right size, and it's got a stitching edge, but that doesn't matter. I think I'm going to have to hold this up to the light. I think what I'm going to have to do is go out into my living room and hold this up against the window, and then try and see the circle inside, and then kind of work out roughly where to cut this, because I need to be pretty accurate with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out all 4 of these images, and then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to literally go into my living room window, hold it up with all 4, and then cut this out, and then I'll come back. All right, so I got that all done. What I ended up doing was holding the piece of book page and the envelope or the CD cover up to the window, and then I got my pencil, and I just, through the light, I could sort of see the circle, and I just sort of roughly, just a few lines here and there to trace a circle shape. And then when I was on my die cut machine, I got my die cut, my circle die, and then I placed it to the best way within the circle and cut, and that ended up being the best way. So now we're going to attach this onto the front. So I'm using my 450, my Helmer 450 quick dry glue for this. So I'm just going to start off with the edges and just try and get those corner bits in, but we can always come in afterwards with our glitter glue, and then we can just, you know, if we've missed any bits, we can fix that up then. So I like this glue because it's a slightly shiny surface, and also it just gives me a little bit of time to move it around if I need to, but it does dry fairly quickly, so it will kind of glue it into place once I'm happy with where I want to place it. But it gives me that, you know, quick 10-20 seconds to peel it up and place it into another position if I need to. So just got my piece here, and there we go. I think we got that pretty good. So just come down with my bone folder and just smooth that all down. Okay. All right, now the tricky part is trying to get this center piece in and lining it up so that everything kind of matches up again. So let's have a go at that. Now I've just noticed that there's a little bit of, I don't know if you can see there, you can see where the scalloped edges. It's nothing major, but what I have done is I'm using Rustic Wilderness for this, but I got myself one of those cosmetic cotton buds, you know, the one with the tapered end, and you can come around if you want and just sort of colour that in. I think you're sort of committing that you need to do the whole lot if that is the case, but it doesn't, it looks all right. I'll try not to rush because I feel like I'm rushing a little bit when I'm on camera, but I'll try and take my time. I won't worry about where the leaf is because you won't see it really anyway, except for where this light green bit is. But yeah, it just helps just kind of disguise that little white bit there. And of course, because it's that sort of cellophane, you can rub any of the ink off if you need to. So okay, so that's done. So now what we need to do is get this piece in and match it nicely. Let me just check. Yeah, that does look a little bit better where it hadn't quite, because of the size die I've got, it's never, you know, it'd be very, very hard to exactly get it right. Some couple I did, so, but I think it would be a case of having the right circle die. All right, so I'm just covering the back and giving, you know, quite a good coverage of glue just so it doesn't dry too quickly, because it is fairly warm. It's about 35 degrees, and even though I'm inside, this actual room is not air conditioned. I just sort of add a little bit of extra glue on just to give me a little bit of extra time for it to, before it dries fully. All right, so this is the way I found the easiest. I get my tweezers and I firmly clamp it, and then I open up my little pocket, and then when I get it in, I just kind of make sure that I angle it to the cellophane, so I try not to let it stick down on the paper, and then I sort of line everything up, like I'm focusing on lining up the words and the leaf down here, and then I grab one end, pull the tweezers out, because at this stage the tweezers are starting to glue to the paper, so I firmly grip that, and then there we go. I think that's pretty close. I mean, really, we are getting our little owl. He is going to be the main star, but it's just nice that when you pull it out you go, oh, it matches. That's so pretty, you know. Okay, so let's finish it off. Now with the scrap, I used 2 pieces of tea dye paper, and I did that because I cut out some squares which we are going to place on the back for some writing space, and out of that all I had left was 2 strips, and then this interesting piece, because I found that these, when I angled it at this orientation like this, they perfectly matched the strips. So I backed all 4 of these, and then I got this interesting shape which I thought that I can use that in something. And then I just got 2 strips of tea dye paper which I'll put in my long strips pile. And then really out of the book page, I mean, these can go in the bin. I think we did pretty good to use up all of these, so don't think there was much waste there at all. And then I got this, which I can fussy cut out that little bit there and use it into something. That would be nice with like maybe a caterpillar. If you've got fussy cuts with caterpillars, I think you could do something, and that's the same reason why I kept this, because I thought I can fussy cut around it and use it in collage. And yeah, so nothing really goes to waste, so I'll just put them aside. All right, let's finish this off. So now that we've done this, I'm just going to trim around the envelope. Okay, and just tidy that up. All right, now I'm going to glue this down, so let's get this. Goes this way. Let's do that side because it's got a very, very slight, well, they both do actually, both sides have got a slight pattern from the tablecloth that I use. If you haven't caught my tea dyeing videos, I show how I tea dye my videos. I have 2. I have the one where I use the black tea, and then I did a follow-up video where I explained the steps a little bit more clearly, but then I also use natural dyes like avocado and crushed blueberries, and then a nice blue tea. So if you haven't caught that video, that's an interesting video, but you'll see how I get all these lovely slight little marks, you know. I don't know if you can see that, if it shows up on the camera there. Okay, so all this stuff is really good to have in your arsenal, so that when you're starting to put ephemera together, you've just got these little pieces. All right, so we've done the back, so I'm just going to get my distress ink. So I'm using Vintage Photo here, so let's just lightly distress the edges here. I hope you're enjoying this little series. Please feel very welcome to join in. Even if you've got a channel and you want to just do a video, it's good content. It's a good way for you to finish off some projects, and hashtag us in Finish It Friday, and we can cheer each other along, because it's certainly making me finish my projects. But not only that, it's actually a really good experience. It's getting me to revisit some skills that I haven't used for a long time. It's making me do things like change over thread in my sewing machine, and then when I went to change it over to black, I realized I had to rewind the bobbin. So it's just getting me active in my craft room. It's actually really having a lot of benefits. But yeah, I certainly hope you're getting something out of it and you're learning along the way as well. All right, so we've now got that done. So that was the rustic wilderness. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. So we've got our edges inked and we've got our backing. So now we've got our little owl, and I'm wondering, do we leave the CD cover blank or can we put something in the corner there? So let's have a look. I've got some really tiny ones here. I mean, I think we could put something like that in. I actually think the little one just fits perfectly there, so let's do that. Alright, so I think that looks so cute. The only thing we can do now is finish off our little tag. So I have got my crocodile here, and somewhere, yes, I've got my eyelet here, and I've got a little backing. You don't have to put the backing on, it's just an extra step. And then I've got some of that kitchen twine that we used in the earlier project. So I'm just going to punch my hole. Let me just line that up. Okay. All right, so I've just chosen, I think that's like a bronze sort of gunmetal. I think it's actually a bronze actually. And then I just hold it here and I put this little washer on. Like I said, this is a bit fiddly and it's totally not necessary at all. I'm still trying to decide whether it's worth the trouble, to be honest. Okay. And there we go. It just sort of finishes the back off nicely, but you know, it doesn't always do that either. I want to be completely transparent with you on that one. Okay, so we've got our kitchen string here. I do about 11 inches. I've kind of done a few of these and I found 11 inches is around about the right length. Okay, so we'll just tie a little knot and so I'll just quickly finish off the back here. Okay, and I just bring in my little loop through the back. And there we have it. So now we can pop our little owl in there. That one there, and then on the back looks like that. And I have finished the others. So this is what we ended up doing with this fella here. Now because this was the first one I did, and because I had misaligned it slightly, it was a little bit too much paper showing on there, so I just fussy cut out, you know, the royal fern, and I just sort of almost put it like a collage type angle. And that one now I've got it's sort of like a printing block and it's of an owl, and I was just experimenting. I won't tell you how I did it. I might have put the paper on the floor and put the stamp on the top and then stood on the stamp. I couldn't work out how to do it, so I would like to kind of figure that out because I think that looks quite good. So we've got that, and then we've got that with the little imprint of the owl there, and this one here, and this one here. Now, oh, I didn't show you, did I, the whole purpose of this, all the trouble we went to. So that's the reveal there, and that's the reveal there, and that's the reveal there, and then this one this is the reveal of this one. So yeah, I'm so happy to get those all done. So sorry for the glare, it's a bit hard with the way the light is. What I'm going to do is we'll come back and we'll bring in our other projects and we'll do the final reveal, and yeah, we'll finish this all off. Okay, so here we are, all of our projects finished, and I'm going to put this away into a little folder setup that I've got. I may show down the track, and also just reminding you that out of the scraps I got these, which I think will come in handy for something else down the road. But I got my milk caps. Now I have got a way that I can use them, and I made up my altered CD covers. I'm so happy with it, and I also got to use up those graphics fairy tags as well. So guys, that's it for me for another Finished It Friday, and I do hope you enjoyed the video. It would be great if you liked it, if you could give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. And if you've got any comments or you just want to join in the fun, please remember, you're very welcome to take photos of your own finished projects and post them on the community wall, and we can cheer each other on. So guys, that's it for me for this week, and I will see you next week with another one. Bye.